I think they really rate him, you know. And for me, I was torn really, because I think maybe our strongest pick in terms of odds to win the fight is Craig Richards. But I just love the idea of bringing Deontay Wilder in as captain, and also having that final fight, knowing you've got double points in the bag, and we could all be sitting ringside banging the canvas. You know, we might need him just to win on points, or we might just need him to get the stoppage for the 4 points, to come from miles behind to win. Imagine the scenes. I mean, I won't stick Frank's nose in it much if that happens, you know. So
yeah.
But like, that's the beauty of this competition. That nothing's predictable in this format, and nothing's predictable in these fights, and that's why it makes it a compelling event.
When you look at the featherweight world title fight, many thought that Nick Bull had done enough to beat Ray Vargas. Did you guys echo those opinions? Did you think Nick had done enough?
I thought around. It was a fight at two halves, but I felt Nick Bull's half of the fight was clearer and more decisive.
And for you, Eddie?
Yeah, I think when you talk about a round, sometimes a draw is not the worst decision in the world. I did think Nick Bull won the fight. Horrible style, Ray Vargas, especially for someone like Nick Bull. This is a really good style matchup between these two. I mean, Ray is a real sharp shooter, and sometimes you may underestimate what a victory like that against Komatov on that kind of platform, in that kind of moment, does to your confidence and your ability, and certainly, as I said, your belief as well. So Nick Bull, you know, if he loses back-to-back defeats at world level, kind of done on the world scene for a while. And for Ray, a move to 130 pounds might be inevitable, but taking this camp very seriously, looks in tremendous shape, and I think you're going to see someone of the same kind of ilk as Shakur, Devin, Richardson, Hitchens, these guys. This is a real outstanding American fighter, and I think you'll see the difference in levels.
And like you say, you saw Ray Ford win that fight, that world title. I think it was in the last 7 seconds, wasn't it, of that 12th round. It was an emotional win for him, an emotional one for Matchroom. I think you'd had him since the debut as well, of course. And I've seen the footage. You actually shed a tear in the locker room.
No, there was something. It's like some dust floating around the room, and it just got in the eye, But to be honest with you, it's an emotional game. Like, it's not just how you feel, it's seeing them. Like when his mum came into the room and they're both in tears. Like, if you don't cry at that point, you're a cold son of a gun. Do you know what I mean? And that moment where he's laying on the floor, I remember when he came into my office in New York. He was like a 19-year-old kid, couldn't really look anyone in the eye, came in, he had all his family with him, and I'm giving it the big spiel, right? Well, I'm going to change your life, son. You're going to be a world champion with me. Oh, you're from Camden, New Jersey. I'm going to have you living in the Hamptons by the time you're 30, right? And of course, that's always the dream. But when it happens, like when you see someone, he comes from humble beginnings, now making money, world champion, being able to not just change his life, but change his family's life as well, going out, buying his mum a house. Like that, for me, that you can't buy that. Like that's better than any, that's even better than any legacy to be able to do
better
that.
Than Barker v Gill?
Yeah, but I mean, that was, you're talking about, that was a...
I had the same spill, by the way. Yeah. You're going to be a world champion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't believe it. And let's be honest, Gill was no Komatov, right? Only joking, mate. But, it is like, that moment, and for Darren, obviously it was the opportunity to go on and defend the world title and make money, but it was also, I think Darren's won different stages in their career. Ray is really in the early stages of his career. For Darren, it was almost like last chance saloon to win a world title, and then when he won the world title, it's like you're free rolling from there, because you can't touch me, mate. Whatever you say, I was the champion. I was world middleweight champion. So and he hardly mentions it as well, which is amazing.
Never. Yeah. You mentioned your captain there, Wilder. Who would have thought it?
I know, yeah.
Who would have thought?
I actually think sometimes, these kind of situations can lend themselves to actually really strong relationships and relationships that maybe last a bit longer. Like, I think that if I can get into Deontay next week, if I can pump him up, if I can really get his belief up, if he can go in and put a dominating performance in and feel like, do you know what, I liked actually working with Eddie, I like being part of the Matchroom team, they treated me well, actually this feels, he's never had that before. He's never had a promoter before. Obviously, he's been with the PBC, but they don't have like a voice that stands up and starts bigging this guy up, and he's had to do it himself. And sometimes when you lose your belief and there's no one behind you pumping you up and telling you you walk this earth like a god and all this kind of malarkey, it ain't easy. So I think right now, seeing him in camp, seeing him on the bag, I think he looks great. And my job in Saudi next week is to make Deontay Wilder believe in himself, and also to make him realise that people are petrified of Deontay Wilder, right? He's well renowned as the biggest puncher in the division, right? Now, whether he is or not, that's the belief of people. One thing's for sure, he hits you flush on the chin, you're banging trouble. He hits Zhang on the chin, he knocks him spark out. But as Joseph Parker said, Zhang is also heavy-handed, even actually heavier-handed than Deontay Wilder, as he said, even though Wilder never really landed that clean on Joseph Parker. But two massive punches that can end the fight any moment.
Deontay said he'd done a bit of soul-searching, hadn't he, recently, after the Fury trilogy and, of course, the Helenius fight. Is it about getting that nasty streak back in him that perhaps he was missing against Joseph Parker?
Yeah, and you don't know whether, once that goes, does it go forever, right?
He says it's back.
Yeah, I think it is, because I think he's got the hump. And I think he's got the bit between his teeth. You know, he lost the fight that he'll feel like he shouldn't. He lost the opportunity, having signed the contract to fight Joshua. He lost that fight for now. So he's like thinking to himself, no, I've got to go in there and prove a point. But in this game, when you do start making money and your life does change, do you lose your edge? Right? Is the hunger still there? Are you the same bad mother? Right? You know? And we only find that out next Saturday.
Following on with the heavyweights, a brilliant fight. I love this fight. Again, another a proper 50-50, Hrgovic-Dubois. Yeah. How'd you see that one going?
I think Hrgovic is a big favourite in the fight. I do. Like, I see a different kind of Hrgovic maybe that others see, in terms of, I think this guy is an elite heavyweight, right? He has been for a long time, just hasn't been in the kind of fights to really show it. Now, has time passed you by where you've missed your prime? I don't think so. I think he's banging his prime now. This is a tough fight against Dubois, who, when you talk about confidence, he'll be feeling confident after Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller is not Filip Hrgovic, just make one thing close. But what he is a big man who will test your heart, and for once in that department, Daniel, he ticked the box, right? And that's going to give him a lot of confidence going in. This is a different kind of fight. I don't think he'll have to show heart in this fight. He'll have to show ability. He'll have to show chin as well, because Hrgovic is a sharp shooter, particularly early in the fight. And a lot of people look at the Hrgovic-Zhang fight, right? Zhang's a tough night for anybody, but also, you know, Hrgovic's father passed away. He weren't really himself going into that fight. He is firing on all cylinders, and I think he knocks Daniel Dubois out.
And he's going to miss the birth of his child as well.
Yeah, well, that'll make him extra angry, you know, but you've got to do what you've got to do.
We witnessed greatness, obviously, last weekend, Eddie. The IBF don't tend to hang around. Is there a chance that fight could be for the IBF World Heavyweight title?
It's all happening a little bit quick, if I'm honest. You know, I mean, for a decision to be made next Saturday, I'm not so sure. You know, I think if it was Tyson Fury, obviously Frank Warren's got a close relationship there to be able to have a direct relationship with him and say, look, Tyson, you're going to have to give this belt up. Do you mind doing it now so these guys can fight for the belt? That conversation's got to be had with Alex Krasuk and Usyk, which might not happen as quickly. So one thing's for sure, I think when Usyk next fights, the IBF won't be in his possession. But when it becomes available, is one for the lawyers and the email chain.
I believe Hrgovic is number 1, AJ, and number 3. I think that number 2 spot is vacant. So in your mind, AJ fights the winner of that for the world title?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think the winner of Dubois against Hrgovic is the definite front runner to fight Anthony Joshua next. But honestly, anything can happen.
How excited is AJ to be back, potentially fighting in London?
Really excited. I mean, he's just excited, full stop. You know, he sat there on Saturday just buzzing. Loved being part of it. He loves being out in Riyadh. The opportunity to fight at Wembley Stadium would be incredible for him as well. But he just, you know, he's long in the tooth. He's been there, he's seen it, he's done it all. He just wants to fight the best. And of course, wants to become a 3-time world heavyweight champion. Well,
speaking of London, to quote Eddie Hearn, blood, guts, thunder, fireworks. How about this one?
You are now looking at a real international prospect.
I will not take a step back.
So physically strong, Fisher.
So I want to do a number on him.
Fisher going for the finish.
Make sure you strap in, because every single fight's going to be explosive. I go in there and I finish people.
Very, very impressive finish.
It's about to get really serious. It's about to get really exciting. This fight will end by knockout.
Well, Eddie, you brought the Romford Bull army over to Las Vegas, and you said to Johnny in our interview in the ring on DAZN after, a headline show in London is the plan. When you were looking at potential options, how did you learn on Alan the Savage
thought it'd be Alan Babic? And do you know what? I didn't even really think about it, to be honest with you, because I was looking more at the domestic scene, right? I was looking at, I don't know, like some of the guys, maybe the international guys that have come over and got beat before. And I just thought to myself, I don't know, if it wasn't me, I'm still taking the credit for it, but I think someone just said, Johnny Fisher against Alan Babic. And I was like, oh my God. That is 1, carnage, 2, a massive fight, and 3, with his following, will fill the whole copper box.
Yeah.
Because everyone knows who Alan Babic is, right? We've seen him for years and years. Everyone knows he comes forward, he's got a granite chin. Like, it's a massive test for Johnny Fisher, who's still a relative novice, Southern Area champion. But people do see it as a very competitive fight. Some see it as a 50-50 fight. And at this stage in Johnny's career, it's a very brave fight for someone who is so popular. I mean, the first order from Johnny Fisher Sr. was 4,500 tickets himself. And he has taken it upon himself this time. He wants physical tickets that he can sell himself direct to punters. The worst idea ever. I mean, amazing for fans and amazing for Johnny Fisher. But you know the job that is involved in selling 4,500 tickets out of your front living room in Romford. I mean, it's like he's going to have a nightmare over the next 6 weeks. But what we are going to get is that, plus the other fighters on the card selling tickets, I don't know, another couple of thousand, plus the general public. This place is going to be, the Copper Bosch, as it's now known, is going to be rammed on July the 6th for a brilliant fight. And, you know, some see as even a 50-50 heavyweight clash.
How did the conversations go? Was it an easy fight to make?
It wasn't really. Like every fighter is happy with a fight. And Johnny Fisher is very sensible, very smart as well. You know, and he's like, look, I'll fight anyone, but speak to the team. And there were a few, you know, Adam Morley, Big John, Tibbsy. Like, the general feeling was, it's a tough fight. Like with Babic, you know he's going to be right on you. And you know that if you haven't done the rounds, there is a chance he could take you all 10 at a ferocious pace. So as an opponent to choose, it's quite a gutsy pick. And some might say, no, Johnny's too big, he's too strong. But you know that what happens if it goes 5-6 rounds and you're fighting at a pace that you've never boxed at before? Because that is what will happen if it goes 5 or 6 rounds. Alan Babic will be right in front of him. And the build-up already is epic. I mean, Alan Babic called Johnny Fisher a posh boy. Did you see the content yesterday?
That's so good.
He left me fisticuffs at the Copper Posh.
Brilliant. He left me a voice note, Alan, just saying they've made a big mistake.
Yeah,
and you have to tell them they wanted this.
Babic, Dillian White, all of that team think we have had a stinker. They think we have absolutely just made the most horrific pick for Johnny Fisher's career. I disagree. I think Johnny Fisher wins this fight. I think it'll be a war, and I think there'll be moments where the bum will go. But that's what we want, isn't it? I mean, if we're going to stick 7,000 or 8,000 in the Copper Bosch, we need to make sure that it's a real fight. I don't want Johnny Fisher to go in against some like one-sided opponent, because he's had that part of his career.
Yep.
He's had that development. It's time.
Good matchmaking.
It's time to find out. And what better opponent than Alan the Savage Babic? And it could be England v Croatia in the Euros on the same day.
Knockout stage.
Absolutely.
That should be the name of the event. That wasn't my
idea.
That was someone in the team who made that up. Good time to be a boxing fan.
Amazing. I mean, amazing time to be a boxing fan, amazing time to work in boxing, amazing time to be a fighter. Opportunities are there, you know, and but you've got to perform. And you've got to go out and you've got to entertain. That's the key.
Yeah. Eddie, I know we've got to let you go and get ready for the main event press conference. Any final words, final nerves?
Hopefully we get a bit of entertainment down here at the press conference. I do predict a quieter press conference today, as we sometimes get, but tune in on DAZN on Saturday. I think we'll get a tremendous fight, biggest British fight of the year by a long way.
We'll do your stretches, get warmed up for that head-to-head. Well, I was thinking we were going to be joined by Mr. Sonny Edwards, who is there with Frank Smith. We'll see if we can bring Sonny in. I think we've got 4 minutes. Sonny, if you just join Darren down that end. We are live.
Oh, go down.
DAZN, ESPN Plus, Top Rank YouTube, Matchroom YouTube. So
can I have a stall to get a bit taller, please?
Please, no.
Yeah, I'll get down.
Swearing.
Okay, then that's it.
Not that I expect you to swear, Sonny, but
imagine if I was that tall.
Swearing.
I'd be an absolute lady killer, innit?
Right, Sonny, we've got time for a couple of questions. As a boxing fan that you are, what do you like about this rematch, and how happy are you that we're finally seeing it?
Well, first of all, I like that it's happening in about 40 minutes away from my house. That's
selfishly.
Selfishly.
Okay, we'll give you that.
I love that big fights like this are still coming to Britain. Let's not address the elephant in the room. So it's great that one of the most anticipated domestic fights that we have, that's been brewing for, what, 2 years now? I was there ringside. Yeah, the fact that it's a stone throw away from me and it's in the UK for the fans to enjoy. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pent-up hatred between these two. A lot of words have been said, a lot of thoughts and nights probably slept thinking of each other. Genuinely, I think Josh won, but as a fighter, probably would have one of the hardest wins to accept, because 90% of the people maybe watching thought he didn't. Jack was a loser, thought he won, and now had 2 years kind of stopping, stalling and starting, waiting for this opportunity. Like, it kind of just makes a climactic event on Saturday, and I can't even wait for the press conference to start, I'll be real.
You're brilliant at breaking down a fight, one of the best. Talk to me about this. How do you think it plays out Saturday?
Josh is very comfortable in a firefight Josh always loves. Now, he has got technical ability and skill, definitely, but he tends to kind of get wrapped into, I hit you harder than you hit me and more times, usually quite early. And I think that's usually where he seems most comfortable. Against Prograis, even though the fire was really, really imminent right in front of him, he was always firing back, and if anything, his drive was going up when his opponent was having some success. Now, we have the kind of complete opposite in Jack Catterall. We have someone that's very patient, very composed and very calm. What I love about Jack, and I think it doesn't get spoken a lot about, is he only really fights on his own terms. He sets out just out of range, he has a strong base of his feet, and he always slightly adjusts into himself, onto himself, slight different angles, but readjusting his legs and his feet into the right place. Then what he does is he's given his opponent enough time to think about what they're doing. Then, because he's very good at countering, being slick, and just picking non-load up, powerful shots to hurt them, just kind of stiff, slick, very efficient shots that get to the target quite quickly, leave very little room for countering himself, and then he's usually good at either smothering or rolling out and resetting. Jack's always going to find that rhythm. He's going to get out, they're going to look at each other, and he's going to wait for your input in like a machine, and then he's going to try and, with his reactions and with his positioning to start with, he's going to try and give his best input straight away. And that's something he's very, very good at, and it's very hard to break him out that rhythm. We might watch 50 Jack Catterall fights, and people might, by round 9, by round 10, say, he's never going to be a superstar, he's never. But in all of those 50 fights, there's been very, very little opportunity, very little chance for his opponent to land clean, to build any success, or to even outscore him. Because if it's a close fight against Jack Catterall, nothing's really happening. Nothing's really happening. The more that's happening is usually more in Jack's favour.
That's a mic drop moment.
Yeah, it is. But he doesn't take unnecessary risks, either Jack Catterall, does he? We saw that against Jorge Linares, similar to yourself.
But he's always in a position where he's switched on, he's got his feet reset, his legs under him, and when someone's coming over what I call no man's land, let's say one fighter's a trench and the other fighter's a trench, whichever fighter usually blindly keeps going over that no man's land is usually the fighter that loses. They put themselves in more opportunity to get caught. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes they get there, they land a big shot, and the whole fight has changed. However, Jack Catterall stays in his trench. And when he pops out for a score and straight back into it. He's very defensive. He's almost like fighting like a turtle. But he's very, very good at what he does. And I really enjoy watching him, and I think he's very meticulous, and I think this fight will always bring the best out of him. Some bad blood, animosity, and someone that for 12 rounds wants to take his head off.
He should get a job in punditry, I think.
I've got a job.
I've got
a job. Why do you think I'm still getting fight dates?
Well, here we go. Opinions don't always please everyone. Who wins?
The fans.
Oh, I knew it. I thought he was going to say boxing or the fans. And a quick one on yourself, Sonny. We're just about to start down there, but you on a quest to become world champion once again.
Maybe. I've been a world champion, so I'm just enjoying the ride now. I'm actually here on some business. You know, I've got a few fighters down there waiting to sign a few contracts, a few fighters on the stage, so I'm slowly, phasing out my boxing career, and I'll probably just go full-time punditry. Jamie, you'll probably be out of a job in the next 18 months.
Replaced.
Now, you're very good at what you do, Jamie. I appreciate you. But in all seriousness, I love boxing. I've never wanted to exist in any other part or industry or dynamic. I don't care about reality TV. I don't care about being famous. I want to be a boxer. I want to be a world champion 2-3 times. Hopefully the IBF give me a shot at the title so I can try and get my ring back. 3 more defences, I reckon I'll be able to do that.
A quick one on Giorgio Vizioli.
Yes.
Because he's a fighter you've been involved with as well in his career. So far, 2-0. From a guy who didn't really knock anyone out in the amateurs to 2 copy and paste knockouts. What's been the overall message for him heading into a big opportunity? He's opening up the live broadcast as well.
Don't knock him out. I want to see some rounds. I want to know if he can do 6 rounds. No point giving him 3-4 minutes, 2 minutes all the time.
But you keep wanting to look good at this early stage, though. How do you weigh it up?
You're fighting with ego. As a fighter, you want to be the best thing coming through. You're just at the door. You want everyone to be excited. Giorgio has done that. Not only has he thrown that same backhand twice and knocked out opponents twice in pretty much copy and paste, as you said, fashion, he's also thrown that shot 3 or 4 more times and landed it perfectly. I had a villa of people looking at that video, them videos of him doing it, all fighting people, boxing people. And now I challenged everyone there, all good fighters, all very good with their feet, to move back and throw a backhand with as much power whilst being able to set a trap, come away and throw a backhand with as much power, and 8-9 boxing people physically couldn't do it. What he does, try and watch it. Really assess what he does, yeah? Bounce, bounce, bounce. Whoosh. How he transfers the weight, gets the power to land to be a knockout shot, and does it in a way where he gives you probably a 1% chance of landing. You're at the edge of range and you're throwing for a target that's now not there and you're on the floor.
Well, as you can see, we are nearly ready.
Over to you, Eddie.
Great to hear from Sonny Edwards, a couple of Repton boys as well, a couple of IBF world champions. Let's hand down to the stage, but before we do that, here's a little reminder of why it's hate that runs deep.
Right now, I think he's an absolute genuine bad blood.
Hate? Coming in there to do damage. Rivalry?
He's a little arrogant piece of
I can't wait to smash his head in.
What do you think of that all by yourself, Jack?
These guys want to attack on the site. It is the most intense, fierce rivalry I've ever seen.
This is not bravado. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Once I beat him, it's game over.
That's Jack Catterall, the man who lost to Josh Taylor.
May the 25th. I can't wait.
We're just waiting for Josh Taylor to make his way to the stage. But this is it, Darren. What do you think will be going through both of their minds?
They're right just now? Be desperate for the fight now. Like Eddie said, all the talking's done. We've had a tremendous build-up. It's stemmed all the way back from the first fight. They're just eager now to get this underway. I mean, it's such a big fight for their careers to push on and continue the way they want to. The bad blood aspect, hate runs deep. They don't want to lose to a bitter rival. That adds added pressure. So much on the line here, Jamie.
Revenge, the aim for Jack Catterall. Silencing the doubters, the aim for Josh Taylor. Hate runs deep. Taylor-Catterall 2, the rematch. Here's Eddie Hearn.
Well, welcome back, everyone. And what a fight, what a moment we have for you on Saturday night at a time where boxing is absolutely flying. Difficult to not stop and talk to anyone on the street about last week's event in Riyadh. Of course, the Undisputed Heavyweight World Championship. What a night for boxing there. And of course, this week, by far and away, the biggest British fight of the year. 11,000 packed into the First Direct Arena in Leeds, live on DAZN around the world for an epic moment. As I said, the biggest British fight of the year, the rematch between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. 2 years on from the undisputed clash up in Scotland, the controversy, the build-up, the animosity, the hatred, whatever you want to call it, it will be settled in the ring on Saturday night. Delighted to be promoting this event, of course, with our friends at Top Rank as well. This event live on ESPN in America, DAZN in the UK, and all around the world as well. Great to see people working together to make the fights happen. And as I said, a flag in the sand moment for British boxing to say we are here and we are back with a massive occasion and an incredible atmosphere on Saturday in Leeds. Before we speak to the teams, I'm going to pass over to the head of DAZN Boxing, Alfie Sharman, to say a few words off the back of an incredible week last week and, of course, next week in Riyadh as well.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Eddie, and hi, everyone. It's great to be here. As Eddie says, we're in an unbelievable stage for our boxing business at DAZN. Obviously, here we are again in another major fight week. I agree, one of the biggest fights of the year domestically and beyond. You know, the month that's passed alone, we've had Haney Garcia, Canelo Munguia, and then, of course, seeing Alexander Usyk be crowned as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. all in a month, and here we are again with, for me, perhaps one of the picks of the bunch. This is a proper domestic monster of a fight. It's the type of us fight fans love to see made. This isn't a fabricated beef or a story that's been made up to sell tickets. You know, it's quite widely accepted that these two gentlemen don't necessarily see eye to eye, and as the tagline suggests a lot more explicitly, the hate runs deep, it is personal, and there's a score to settle. In one corner we have Josh Taylor, possibly the greatest Scottish boxer of all time, and in the other Jack Catterall, a brilliant fighter who's on a very good run since his last fight with Josh, and possibly has you know, a wrong to right on Saturday. I wish both men, both warriors, the very, very best of luck on Saturday night. This is what boxing is all about for me and for us at DAZN. We cannot wait. So join us ringside, live, exclusively on DAZN. Enjoy part of your subscription, and thanks very much.
Thanks, Alfie. Although we'll go to Jack before Josh, I know Sam always feels we start with him. So, Tom, I'm going to start with you, and maybe more of a calming note from yourself. Last time you were fantastic, you and Sam going at it. Obviously, we're a couple of days away now. Big moment for your man. Every member of every team, each team, is adamant that their man wins this fight. No exception from you as well, but a big moment. Looking forward to a great atmosphere in Leeds on Saturday.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't wait for Saturday now. This has been 2 years in the making. A lot of things have been said, and you know, ultimately we're just a matter of hours away now from it all kicking off. And yeah, we can't wait. We're obviously very confident in Josh. Jack's team obviously very confident in him, and I think that's going to make for a fabulous fight. I think, you know, Alfie just said it there, that this is really like a landmark fight in the calendar this year, in what is a phenomenal calendar for boxing. And you know, from my perspective, we're just incredibly grateful to Matchroom, DAZN, Top Rank, ESPN for not only making this fight happen, but obviously, you know, in light of the unfortunate postponement, making sure that this could be put back on as soon as possible. You know, there's a lot of work that went into that, making that happen in a very short space of time as well. So yeah, I can't wait for Saturday night. You know, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we saw on the Make the Days Count documentary, you were the man to deliver that news to Sam Jones. What was that like at that moment? Obviously, you know, we wanted and worked towards that original date. You had to phone Mr. Jones as well. 4 weeks, not the end of the world, but obviously also disappointing and tough call to make to a team in this kind of build-up.
100%. I think we were very conscious of the fact that the first fight that had been scheduled for last year fell through like a breakdown in communication. So as soon as within the hour of us getting notified by the doctor that it wasn't foreseeable that he could fight on the scheduled date, the decision was made to obviously notify yourselves, but simultaneously notify Jack's team. We didn't want to lose that communication. We didn't want to not be transparent. Obviously, it was an issue on our side, and we knew that it wouldn't go down well as well. It's to be expected. You know, everyone's in the middle of camp. So that was the thinking behind it, and obviously, I think it was just purely fortuitous that your cameras were there in Tenerife to capture it all. So yeah, it was just, like I say, it was really important that we did that, and I felt like we handled it in the right way, as best as we possibly could.
And finally, great buzz this fight, great moment for everybody, fired up, ready to go, looking forward to Saturday night. No doubt in your mind, your man will be triumphant in Leeds.
100%. I've no doubt in my mind. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think both men have got points to prove for different reasons. I think Jack is going to put on a much better performance than he did in the first fight. I think he's developed as a fighter, and I think Josh is going to show the world exactly why he got to the top of the sport. And I think those ingredients make for a fantastic fight. And you know, the fact that it's part of the subscription on DAZN for so many people to just watch as well is phenomenal. And you know, I'd actively encourage anybody who's not got plans Saturday night to make sure they watch this fight, because it's going to be a barnstormer.
Thanks, Tom. Sam, welcome. One man will be very emotional on Saturday night. I'm sure as yourself, in the build-up, on the night, in the moment. Obviously, very close with Jack Catterall. It's a massive moment in his career as well. A couple of days away now. We've been through the delay, that phone call as well, and ready to go for a brilliant event for British boxing.
Yeah, look, it's a relief that it's finally here now, and it's finally going to get put to bed on Saturday. Yeah, it was disappointing, and you feel things straight away when you get that type of news, and it's not ideal for Jack, not ideal for Josh either. But one thing is for certain, I believe you're going to get a conclusive winner on Saturday, and it's going to be Jack Catterall. He's been looking on fire in the gym. I've been in the gym watching him spar. He's been, I would say, probably one of the best camps he's ever had, if not the best. He's ready to put this to bed on Saturday and put on a conclusive performance.
That period of delay, you know, knowing your man, I don't think 4 weeks is really going to affect anyone, but you think benefits, Josh, that extra time in training camp, or you expect both guys to be at the peak of their powers?
I don't think it benefits either, because listen, Josh has been out the ring for I think nearly a year now, so it's not ideal for him either. It's not ideal for Jack, but the bottom line is we're finally here now. The fight is sold. It's a fantastic fight. The turnout's fantastic. The tickets are all sold, and this is what we want to see. It's the biggest British fight of the well, it's the biggest domestic fight of the year by a mile, in my opinion, and. We're finally here. We're finally going to get there. And listen, Josh, for me, like what I said before many times, he's the best Scottish fighter ever, in my opinion, from what he's achieved. But that's his kryptonite right there. And you're going to see Jack Catterall with his hand raised like he should have been in the first fight. Finally,
both teams very confident in their man. What gives you the confidence, and how do you see the fight playing out on Saturday?
Just the way Jack is. He takes everything. He's so calm, cool and collected. The way he's sparred in this camp, he's really got that bit between his teeth, and Jack feels he's got a point to prove in this fight. So there's no belts on the line. This is just all about pride and settling a score. And Jack Catterall's going to win this fight on Saturday night.
Jamie, welcome. Obviously a part of that first fight, which, you know, I guess they've shared 12 rounds already together, but pales into insignificance. Really, it's all about Saturday night now. Pleased with the preparation, pleased with the camp from your man, and confident going into a massive fight on Saturday?
Absolutely, yeah. And, you know, in many ways, we've got to forget about the first fight because, you know, Josh has said many times that, you know, he overlooked Jack, and we have to take that on, you know, as gospel. So if that was the case, then we go into the fight expecting the very best Josh Taylor. And I said it a couple of times in fight week last time, you know, my confidence in Jack isn't from me not having respect for Josh as a fighter. He's in knowing what Jack's capable of, and you know, he's improved since the first fight. I've just done an interview now, and people are asking me, "Do you think Josh is past his best?" Absolutely not. I don't think losing to Teofimo Lopez is a gauge to say that someone's past the best. It's insane to say that. But my confidence is in Jack Catterall. I'm not really concerned about anything else because I know what he's done, I know how he's prepared, and he's ready to go.
Obviously, the first fight was an intriguing one. It was a little bit cagey at times. A lot of people feel this fight might be different. Obviously, no belts on the line, huge amount of animosity, pride as well. Sometimes, some might say careers at the world level as well. Expect this one to be a more active fight in there.
Fight week last time caught fire sort of right towards the end, and that was probably what ignited this little bit of a feud as it's gone on. But this is a blessing for these fighters. You know, looking from the outside box, looking in. You live for this. As a fighter, when you're growing up and you're looking at pro boxers, you want that type of rivalry. You want that needle, and this is what these guys live for. So, you know, in years to come, they'll look back and they'll appreciate it. But at this moment in time, you know, they just want to get in there and fight each other. But this is what boxing is all about. There's nothing more I love than a British rivalry.
Obviously, yourself been involved in some great British rivalries as well, and as a trainer, some huge nights. But this right up there, obviously, absolutely. The pain of that defeat a couple of years ago. This is a massive moment in your career as well.
Yeah, of course, but like I said at the beginning, you have to forget about the first fight. You can't take emotion into a fight, because if you do, then you're fighting wrong. You have to be cool, calm, collected, and Jack's is a hybrid. He sort of adapts to whatever's in front of him, and you know, I believe Josh is going to try something different, and if he does, then we're ready for it.
Joe, welcome. Might try something different on Saturday night. We'll see. But big moment, you know, for you as well, and Josh. I know the nights that you love to be a part of as well, the needle, the bad blood, but more importantly, two great fighters. We expect a great moment for British boxing on Saturday night.
Exactly, Ed. You know, what a magnificent, you know, fantastic show for these two to put up. As Jamie just stated there, it's you know, one of the biggest shows of this year, and I'm expecting a magnificent contest. A vintage Josh Taylor performance, a good victory, and I just hope and pray that there is no controversy. The fight isn't stop and start, and the referee can handle the occasion. You know, he's not underqualified for it, the low blows, because, as I've said on an interview previously, I think Jack massively underperformed in the first fight. also Josh. I hope they get both to show the best of their abilities and give a fantastic performance for the fans. And I can see nothing. Josh Taylor turns up Saturday night, he comes away with a nice victory.
Same question that I said to Jamie as well. Obviously, first fight was cagey at times in there. Both guys longer in the tooth now. Must win for both. No belts on the line. Expect it to be a more fiery encounter in the ring as well.
Yeah, I thought the first fight was shit, to be fair. But, you know, the both of them, it was messy, it was scrappy. Jack landed nice single counters and Josh forced the fight. Throwing combinations. I'm expecting this one to be a lot cleaner. They know each other well. And who can implement themselves on the man, follow instructions and implement the strategy, you come away victorious. And I can see nothing but a Josh Taylor win. Yeah, you know, it'll ignite. I'm expecting Mr. Catterall to start a lot more aggressive. Could that play into Josh's hands? Maybe so, maybe not. But he's prepared, this man to my left is prepared for every scenario. He's been there before. He's achieved every accolade in the sport. And I'm excited for a good performance of him.
When anyone suffers a defeat, we talk about, you know, is the decline there? Is it the end of the road? You see him up close and personal every day. Josh Taylor still got it and ready to put in a career best performance on Saturday.
100%, Ed. You know, what he's doing in the gym, all he's got to do, he's sparred fantastic. Take him to the arena Saturday. And as Jamie's just noted on, you know, this is what's fucked up with the sport now. A guy will get a no, and it's the end of the line, they're finished. It's not that way. Thankfully for you as a promoter, you've sort of eradicated that module, and, you know, there's a road back for fighters to come again as long as they're putting a good performance in. He's lost against Tiafimo. There was a few issues behind it, but the past is the past. And it'll make him a better fighter Saturday. And, you know, he's certainly showing everything I want to see in the gym. And if he turns up Saturday and does the same as he's been doing the past 10 weeks, we're in for a good night of boxing.
Jack, the time is nearly upon us. I bet you thought it would probably never come, but it is here. Small delay. Massive moment for you, massive moment for your career, massive moment for your family, everything. Biggest moment of your life comes Saturday night. Chance for you to right the wrongs, and you're ready to go on Saturday night in Leeds.
Yeah, I'm ready now. We've had the delays, the setbacks, but it's fight week. We're here in Leeds. It's exciting, and I've done all the hard work, and we're less than, we're 2 days away now from fighting, so very real and very much looking forward to it.
Sometimes when we have this kind of build-up, you know, the Thursday press conference is quite low-key, quite chilled. Is it about keeping your composure going into this fight? I mean, the first two press conferences, you guys were at each other's throats. Now, no point in exerting that energy. Make weight tomorrow and get the job done.
Yeah, I think we both know what stands in front of us now. We're fighting Saturday. All the talking's done. We've had the build-up. The fight's sold. Obviously, we don't see eye to eye. I think we're both ready to make weight and fight now.
What sort of fight do you expect on Saturday? Last time up in Scotland, great performance from you as well, but as I said, the pair of you longer in the tooth now. A lot of fans expecting a more active fight.
Yeah, I think, like Joe said then, I watched the first fight. I didn't rate it that much. I thought I beat him, and I beat him comfortably. I think I underperformed. Maybe Josh did as well. But we've prepared for the best version of Josh, and I feel like over these last 2 years I've improved as a fighter. I've been in the gym, I've not stepped foot out of the gym. I've been learning, developing, taking myself away, sparring, etc. So expect a better fight Saturday. Emotions aside, I think I'm the better fighter, and I'm going to show that on Saturday night.
Obviously, people talk about what's next for the winner. I think, judging by the profile of this fight, I know both of you guys are fixed on Saturday night. This fight shown all around the world, huge audience as well. The winner's going to land himself a massive, massive fight. But for you, absolute must-win.
It's a must-win Saturday. That's where all my energy is focused to. I don't want to talk about what's after this. I know you've got a great division at 140 and there's a lot of big fights to be made, and that's an exciting prospect. But right now, all I can think about is beating Josh on Saturday.
And finally, I don't think you'll mind me saying, when I was doing an interview earlier, they asked me for a prediction, and you said Catterall stoppage round 7 to 9. Still stand by that? You believe you'll take this man out on Saturday night?
I can take him out Saturday.
Josh, welcome. Again, sometimes when you reach this moment, both fighters, they don't really want to do a press conference. They want to go away, do their work, make weight, and prepare for war on Saturday night. 2 days away. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good, Eddie. Enjoying the week, enjoying the press conferences, enjoying all the media
Yeah, it's good. It's just another fight week, and on Saturday it's just another fight, and a fight that I'm looking forward to putting all this to bed and moving on with my career and proving that the last time was just an off night. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Saturday and I can't wait.
Joe's interesting comments, and I think we see it a lot in boxing. One defeat at elite level and you're done, you're finished,
Yeah.
you know, you're written off. You feel like there's huge nights ahead of you. We know how strong the landscape is at 140 as well. We know how big this fight is in terms of its profile as well. This is going to put you right back in contention for all the huge world championship fights at 140.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at the history of boxing. All the great fighters of the past have taken defeats and come back and won world titles again. You know, just because you take one defeat doesn't mean you're a finished fighter. I think that's where boxing's taken a turn for the worse, because when a fighter takes a loss, everybody goes, he's finished and stuff like that. But things like the UFC, there's fighters that have got 20 fights and 10 losses and that, but they're still at the top of the game and still fighters. Just because you take a loss doesn't mean you're a bad fighter. So I still feel like I'm at the top of the game. And on Saturday I take care of business and I'm back into the picture for winning my titles back.
You appreciate these fights getting made because of the narrative, you know,
Yeah.
the bad blood, of course, the first fight, the animosity, etc. But at the same time, for everything you've achieved in the sport, will be nice to put a line through this chapter of people saying to you,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't think you won that fight, or he won that fight, and your opportunity to just really erase that conversation come Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just put it all to bed. You know, it's been a long 2 years. You know, we've been around talking about this fight for 2 years. You know, the delays and injuries and stuff like that. But you know, my health comes first. My health is paramount. So I'd just like to say thank you to you guys when I did say about the postponement, for getting it done nice and quickly and sharply, and only making it 4 weeks later. So thanks for getting it done nice and promptly. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, can't wait for Saturday now.
Same question that I asked both trainers, the fight that you expect on Saturday. We know both calm at the moment. Weighing, I'm sure, will be a little livelier. Saturday will be wild in there. You're talking about, you know, a few thousand Scots coming down, half of Chorley, Manchester, Leeds, London. It's going to be wild in there on Saturday night. Emotions running high. Expect a much better fight around this time. Everyone feels like this could really catch fire.
Yeah, I hope so. You know, the last fight was a stinker from the both of us. You know, Jack doing a lot of holding and spoiling, slowing the pace down. I was very poor as well. So I believe the two of us can be a lot better, and it'll be a better fight for the fans and the spectators on Saturday as well. So yeah, I feel it's going to be a great fight in a barnstormer. And the arena, I was in there obviously on Monday. And wow, I've got a bit of a surprise, you know, it's right on top of you. So it's going to be a great experience and a great atmosphere in there. I'm looking forward to it.
And that gives you the hope of a great fight by the man to my left predicting a stoppage in the fight between round 7 and 9. Does that surprise you, or
Yeah,
give you
good.
good hope that this is going to be an aggressive fight?
Yeah, good. Let him think that. If he wants to do that, great. Absolutely fantastic. Music to my ears.
And how do you win this fight on Saturday?
I don't really care how I win this fight, whether it's by points or stoppage. The way I've been performing in the gym, the shots I've been throwing and catching people with, if I catch them with these shots, it'll be over. It'll really be devastating for them. But we'll see what happens. But it's just a win for me.
And finally, as I said to him, for all the fights you want in the future, for the rivalry, must win for Josh Taylor on Saturday night.
Yeah, this is a must win. This is one for bragging rights, you know, and this is one to say, I told you I'm better than you. So yeah, can't wait.
Well, we can't wait to see it in Leeds on Saturday night. As I said, 11,000 sold out the first direct arena, live on DAZN around the world, in the UK, ESPN in America. Massive fight, massive moment for British boxing. The fight of the year so far as Josh Taylor rematches Jack Catterall. Don't miss it wherever you are. We're going to have a face-off and we'll be weighing them in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Everyone welcome. We'll see you for a great night on Saturday in Leeds. Thank you.
Well, we said there, Darren, we weren't 100% sure what to expect from the guys on the top table today, as Eddie Hearn described it there. Calm, cordial and respectful.
The talking's been done now. The takeaway, I think, from that press conference is both teams, both fighters are extremely confident. It's down to both making the weight now, doing the last bit of training, sweat out to get the last few pounds off. Get tomorrow out of the way, and then Saturday, who can adapt their game plan? Who can remain disciplined? Who can get the job done? Who can use their emotions correctly, not get overridden by emotion? Get their game plan into play. has the best chance of winning this.
Well, like I say, it's been calm. Calmer than before this afternoon here in Leeds. But let's see what happens here. No fire this time on the stage as Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall will make their way to the middle of the stage. I think Eddie Hearn and the security team are just having a little chat of how best to organise this one. But this will be interesting to see. Will there be any verbals? We will be listening in. Not long to go now. Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall 2. 8 runs deep, the rematch live on DAZN and on ESPN Plus in the United States.
Face to face, please. Thank you, boys.
You could hear a pin drop.
Long and icy cold there. It must be an interesting one for Eddie because he's probably thinking, go on, say something, say something. But how long do you keep that going on for?
Do you know what, though, Jamie? The words, we've said this all week. Everything's been said now.
It has, yeah.
You know, anyone in this game knows that Saturday will not disappoint. They're two extremely good fighters with so much on the line. I guarantee you Saturday is an absolute barnstormer of a fight.
I do have a feeling at the weigh-in things might get a bit fiery.
Yeah, they're a bit more. I mean, the weigh-in itself is a bit more going on, is a bit more vibrant.
They'll have the crowd in here as well.
And let me tell you now, for anyone who hasn't had to lose weight for a fight or anything in particular, getting those last few pounds off really, really does aggravate you. It annoys you. And there's also a sense of achievement. When you get down to that weight, there's that elation where you're like, yes, I'm ready, come on, let's go. So you're naturally fired up. So, yeah, I agree with you. You might see a bit of pushing and shoving. You might see some, well, I guarantee you will see some emotion tomorrow. But, again, Saturday night will deliver.
Saturday night, all the questions will be answered. If you're in and around Leeds, get yourself down here to the Queen's Hotel, 1 p.m, as the fighters, including those two, Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall, will face the scales and face each other for the final time before they meet in the middle, in the ring, the First Director Arena in Leeds. We cannot wait. From myself, Jamie Ward, from Darren Barker, we'll see you tomorrow.
Right now, I think he's an absolute genuine bad blood.
Hate. Coming in there to do damage. Rivalry.
He's a little arrogant piece of
I can't wait to smash his head in.
Do you think of that all by yourself, Jack?
These guys want to attack on the site. It is the most intense, fierce rivalry I've ever seen.
This is not bravado. Can't wait to get my hands on it.
Once I beat him, it's game over.
That's Jack Catterall, the man who lost to Josh Taylor.
May the 25th. I can't wait.